A big trend that we're seeing in fantasy drafts right now is a lot of people are paying up for wide receiver. Draft them early in the first few rounds. We're seeing more wide receivers go earlier in the first few rounds than in prior years due to zero RB, people knowing that if you go wide receiver heavy, you're fighting its fragility at the running back position. And now that is creating some dynamics in the market, some values here in the later rounds, especially with these rookie wide receivers. These rookie wide receivers might be the upside play for some of you guys. So we're going to be looking at the market as a whole, at the rookie wide receivers, looking at the whole spectrum. That way you can look at their values, see what you want to do in your drafts, and see where you want to peg these rookie wide receivers. If this is something you're into, looking at these draft strategies as we approach draft season for fantasy football, hit that subscribe button right now, because I'm going to have a lot of content going your way, especially in season, as we help you set your lineups, as we help you put your teams together, along with Dynasty, Devy, and everything else, because this channel is very active. But looking at these rookie wide receivers, looking at the market, seeing what they do, per Underdog Fantasy, using their ADP, we're looking at where they're going in drafts. Jordan Addison, first one off the board, usually in the 6th round. Over 3,000 total receiving yards and 20 touchdowns on his career. Broke out with 2 collegiate programs at USC and Pitt. He's got Kirk Cousins. Last year he was third in attempts, 7.5 air yards per attempt. Adam Thielen's gone. He owned a good portion of the passing game. Justin Jefferson's there to take the heat off him. He's going in the 6th round, though. He's the first wide receiver people are pulling the trigger on in best ball drafts on Underdog. And the thing about it being best ball drafts on Underdog is, I get it's a different form of fantasy compared to regular redraft. However, the ADP is a little bit sticky, and it's a little bit more sharp considering it's all year long. A lot of sharp people play on it, and there's tons of drafts. So the sample size is pretty good to get a good correlation too. Jordan Addison, 6th rounder. Price tag's still a little bit high, and that might be part of the market just funneling wide receivers up the board a little bit. Instead of like 16 going in the first 3 rounds, you're getting 18 wide receivers and so forth. You're getting a little bit more flustered to the top of the rankings. So some of these players that you would like to get a shade later might be pumped up a little bit. Jordan Addison, though, you're getting a wide receiver here that's very nuanced. First round draft capital in a high volume passing offense that had other wide receivers in this role with some vacated targets that you know that can give him the opportunity to produce. But still in the 6th round, we have Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Also, usually going a few picks after, maybe a few picks after in that round, like more in the back end. 1,600 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns in 2021. Blew up that year. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett are the incumbent wide receivers. So this is a good mix of wide receivers in this range. Tyler Lockett also has a similar ADP. Geno Smith, surprisingly, 8th in the league in pass attempts, 7.5 air yards per attempt. So decent pushing the ball downfield. He's a very good route runner. He's very nuanced. Did not really play at all last year. He did have some games, but really injured, so wasn't really able to make that type of an impact. However, this is a player that could be sneaky good on us. This is a rookie wide receiver that if you want to take a bet that exceeds expectations, this could be this guy. We're in round 6, though. Price tags up there because we do have some known commodities, making it harder for us to pull trigger on wide receiver. We got Traylon Burks, Mike Evans, Tyler Lockett, Michael Pittman, Jahan Dotson, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, if I haven't mentioned him before. But we have a bunch of guys here that we have options for. So the opportunity cost is still kind of high considering what's there. But if you want to look at wide receiver in the 6th round, we have Jordan Addison, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, unknown guys, unknown assets for your fantasy team that have draft capital that's up there, talent that's up there in situations that could allow them to succeed. You have 2 wide receivers here soaking up targets. However, Tyler Lockett hasn't been a clean bill of health lately. On top of that, Jaxon Smith-Njigba has been looking good in minicamp and rookie minicamp. He could be a guy that can really exceed expectations because good players do good things quick, and this could be one of those. Moving on, to our next guy, round 7, Quentin Johnston. This is when he's coming off the board in Underdog. Age 18 breakout, low volume passing offense in TCU, but still is very productive. He's paired with Justin Herbert. He's a wide receiver that come draft season, we're wanting him to go to the perfect place because there's some stuff in his prospect profile due to how he plays the game that he needs to be paired with the right quarterback. Justin Herbert's it. Second in attempts last year, 6.5 air yards per attempt, but he was also dealing with injuries. We also have Kellen Moore there, offense coordinator. Things might get fired up here. He's sharing the wide receiver room with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Those guys are not pictured as healthy players. There's usually injuries involved with both those guys from a year in and year out basis, and they're another year older. Quentin Johnson could be seeing some opportunities later in the season. Opportunity cost has dwindled this part of the 7th round because we're looking at middle to late 7th round when he's getting selected. And all the guys that I listed prior are usually off the board, and now we're looking at him. He's a big play threat. First round draft capital, can get you yards after the catch. Justin Herbert's really going to like him. But if you want to go cheaper, we'll go down to round 10, and we got Zay Flowers, another first round wide receiver. An 8 out of 13 yards on his career. Had some years with 15 yards. This guy can get downfield, runs crisp routes, has good hands. We've said this on the channel weeks back while watching Rashad Bateman work out. He's come back from a Liz Frank, had surgery on that. Usually it takes some time for players to come back from that injury. Even though reports are always going to sound good right now this time of year, we have to be suspect on that because the history of that. But he could be back week 1, or he could have a slow start to the season. We're going to know more once we get to training camp here in a few weeks. Odell Beckham coming back from an injury, old, new team, a lot of different variables here as well. Zay Flowers, downfield threat, catches the ball, very aggressive, first-round wide receiver. The big thing that can hinder all these wide receivers is Mark Andrews. 13 games last year had over a 20% target share. In a low-volume passing attack, that's crucial because there's also games where he's hitting 30, 40% target share as well. So he sucks up a lot of targets. This could prevent him from breaking out. But the fact that he gets downfield, is a cerebral route runner, puts him in like that Marquise Brown role where they can just chuck him passes downfield. Might be great in DFS this year. Might be great in plus matchups this year. Might have some blow-off top games this year. Wide receiver you want to watch. A lot of people were talking about him during draft season. And then we're going to round out the late rounds on these rookies because a lot of these guys are upside plays and you're just waiting to see what happens, seeing what dominoes fall for them to hit, see what could go on here. Like Rashee Rice with the Chiefs. You know the Chiefs offense. Everybody wants a piece of that offense. He's pumped up to the 12th round here in rookie best ball drafts. Also, Jonathan Mingo's pumped off here in redraft best ball drafts, not rookie. Jonathan Mingo as well. Jonathan Mingo's got a ton of upside. A lot of different changes in this offense, though. Rookie quarterback, other new wide receivers. But still, at this price tag, you are shooting for upside once you hit these double-digit rounds. Jayden Reed, same thing. Could be the guy here in Green Bay. Could be wide receiver 2. Volume in the offense is going to be very important. Could be a slow-paced offense, but also he could have some blow-off top games throughout the season depending on the game script. Marvin Mims gets downfield, has speed, 4.3 speed, good ball skills, and we're in an offense that's trying to transition, trying to get better, trying to push the ball downfield, and is in a division where you're going to have some optimal game scripts. So if he can get a good snap share, we might see him be productive somewhere down the line this year. This is why people are pulling the trigger in the double-digit rounds. Jalen Hyatt, another downfield threat. Josh Downs, cerebral route runner. Not the greatest situation when you look at passing volume, plus the team's transitioning to a rookie quarterback. But again, round 18, like last round of drafts, and some fantasy drafts don't even go this far in rounds, really depending on your league. But again, these are the rookies going in late round of ADP. If I did not mention it, it's because they're not on the ADP. So just consider them round 18, 19, 20, or whatever you want to put them at. Or once you get to around 14 or so, 15 or so, get your guy who you want for the upside. But these are the rookie wide receivers, the price tags per underdog best ball drafts, and we have to gauge the market, because if you overshoot your shot too much in the market, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot, because the market not necessarily is always right, but has a good gauge on the perspective of outcomes. So even though player X or player Y can exceed expectations, the market over the long run can really lead you to where you want to be. And then you just pick your spots in the micro, in the picks in between the value range. But honestly, knowing where people are going in price allows you to plan ahead in your draft. Say, I draft this guy, because I know this guy and this guy is going to be later, and I want to make sure I maximize my overall roster. And that's the goal here. We know wide receivers are being pumped up. We know the value at wide receivers really dwindling in drafts. Rookies are something we can take advantage of and hope for that upside. Hope for maybe one of these guys really exceeds expectations. A dominant falls, allows them to get more opportunity than expected, and maybe we can cash in. Maybe we can get lucky instead of drafting some other placeholder wide receivers that can maybe hold it down a little bit, but not good enough to really help us win games. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can cash in on that. Maybe win off on wide receivers early in our draft, and now we can get one of these cheaper rookies. Maybe we shot ourselves in the foot, went running back early because the values were good, but now the wide receiver pool's dwindled, and now we need some upside. We can look at these rookies. There are also other players that has upside that are good in some of these rounds that you want to look at as well, but this video is just focused on the rookie wide receivers. Let me know who you're trying to draft this year, which rookie you're going after. I want to hear about it. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. It's only going to help you build your fantasy teams. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.